And now, on to our speakers for today's topic. In the realm of nonprofits, the integration of artificial intelligence introduces a spectrum of both opportunities and challenges. Today, we want to unveil both the good, the bad, and the ugly side of this technological evolution. On the positive front, AI offers transformative potential for nonprofits. However, there are many challenges that persist, marking the, I'll put bad in quotation marks, but we do need to be mindful of the challenges and what potential difficulties can emerge when things like ethical boundaries are crossed. So here today, to talk to us about the good, the bad, and the ugly of AI, we have Paige Moon, the co-founder and CIO of Focus Data Solutions, which is a managed services company that assists professional service firms, associations, and nonprofits throughout the area. Paige has 30+ years focusing on IT strategy, security, network engineering, and software design. He has assisted government entities with network design, cybersecurity strategy, IT product rollout, and leadership selection.
So, here we are talking about AI. And I don't think that you can turn on the television, listen to a podcast, open your email, look at anything, look at any articles, any publication without seeing AI somewhere in the headlines. And there's a good reason for that. And the reason for that is that the changes that we're going through right now are unlike anything we've ever seen. And they're very exciting, and they're presenting challenges already that we haven't. And so next we're going to go into talking about narrow versus general AI. And so Paige is going to talk to us a little bit about that.
So when we talk about, and I'm going to ask a question of you all, who has Siri or Alexa at home and asks it to play music at night or whatever the case may be? So you all are experienced with narrow AI. You know what narrow AI is. It is a decision-making system that works on a narrow set of parameters. And narrow AI is what each and every one of us has experienced, certainly through Siri, certainly through Alexa, also through your ATM at the bank, also through the credit card companies as they are anticipating fraud based on your transaction history. All of that is the application of narrow AI. Now, general AI, on the other hand, is at the moment a pipe dream. So general AI is where a system, a mechanical or electronic system, is able to make decisions upon the data that is given and then act on its own to either improve itself or improve an external system. General AI is not readily available today. Now, the concern about general AI, and certainly the concern that you're going to have about narrow AI, is, and we'll go into this later, is the mining of the data and who has control of the data, et cetera, et cetera. But just to define for everyone in the room, currently we are all dealing in the world of narrow AI.
What should our associations and nonprofits be thinking about in terms of what's now available to them? I'm butchering my way through that. I'm only on my third cup of coffee.
I think there's two things to think about at the moment. One is the application of AI systems to your organizations in the future. So preparing today for what the possibilities exist tomorrow, for whatever the possibilities are tomorrow. But before we make that big leap and say, okay, we're going to embrace AI, we're going to turn our organization upside down, we're going to explore how AI can support us. we need to be aware that AI is already in our organization. And the constituents, or the constituency that you have, is your vendors, the application software that you're using, either it's AMS or your financial systems, et cetera, your marketing, your sales. All of those engines are at this moment exploring, or already have explored and implemented AI into their systems. Your boards, your C-levels, all of them need to be aware that AI is at some point going to work its way into their into your organization, if it hasn't already done so. And you need to start developing those systems, those checks and balances, those policies within your organization in order to govern AI, not only today.
Because the question that I'm getting all the time is, where do we even begin? Should we lock things down? What do we need to tell our people as we're starting to approach things like generative AI being used so that people can be more efficient in our organizations?
I would certainly say that there's really no way to lock it down. The data is already out there. Now, how do we use that data? How do we protect our members' information? How do we protect our organization's information, our confidential business processes, et cetera, et cetera? Those are the questions we should be asking ourselves. And it's not just the job of the board or the C-level. It is the job of the members. It is the job of your staff. Everyone needs to be involved in this dialogue. The data is, fortunately or unfortunately, in large measure already out there. And so, yes, we need to be aware of what we put into an AI engine, if you will, or a meat grinder, or however you want to call it. We need to be aware of we need to be cautious about what we put in. But we also need to be aware that that data is out there, and we need to shepherd that for our members, for our organization, and be very cautious about how we use that data. Does that help?
I like your use of the word shepherd, because it really is guiding, right? We're shepherding the flock. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Have you heard stories yet of where? Paige, do you want to get that?
I assume this is working.
Yes.
So, in the misuse of data area, not that AI is the first environment where misused data occurs. And certainly you can go back through all kinds of data leaks throughout, even before computers. But in the case of AI, it is just quicker. And the AI itself is making decisions based on your data and providing those answers to others. So there are a couple of examples. I've got one of which just, I read about it, I guess, last month in Wired Magazine, but they did a hackathon recently with banks and AI systems. And one of the gentlemen who was part of this hackathon decided to enter last names and zip codes into their ChatGPT instance that the bank was using, or one of the banks was using. And lo and behold, it spit back out valid credit card numbers. All right, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's kind of like a nightmare while we're all awake. It's it's okay. It's
valid credit card numbers for that zip code and that last name. So, is this an AI problem, or is this a data retention, data privacy problem? I would say it's the privacy problem. It's exacerbated because AI now allows for tools to mine that data in a way that we were unaware of beforehand. But it's still it still comes down to how do we protect our data? And the questions that we need to ask as leaders in our organization, as thought leaders in our organizations, those questions need to be asked now. How are we handling our members' data? How are we handling our vendors' data? How are our vendors handling our data? And being able to come up with a set of guidelines that we all can agree on to help guide our organization. And I have plenty of other horrible examples. One of my favorites say that not only is ChatGPT a facet of AI, AI is embedded in most operating systems, in most larger computer systems, if you will, including all accounting packages. Dynamics has AI in it, Intuit has AI in it. All larger banks are using AI to track your basically where your money goes. HR applications, especially online HR applications, are leveraging AI. Marketing, sales solutions. So it's really out there, and it's not necessarily ChatGPT or DALL-E or any of these others. These are just applications that leverage more of the whole than these much more narrow AI solutions. Question a little bit more is that decision support systems have been around for years. That's what C-levels use to help make their decisions more easily, I guess. And AI can step into that role very quickly to help you make those decisions. Specifically, you can query AI, give me a heat map of memberships across the United States, the continental United States. This will help me to make a decision about where I should concentrate my conference. Because they know that within 3 states, people are going to come to a conference more quickly or more frequently than they are to travel across the United States to go to a long distance conference. Those type of decisions are being supported by AI. And I think that's a great example of where you can use it. For the specific applications, I mean, any AMS out there, any association management system that's worth the salt, looking at AI to help generate those data points for you.
You told us that we need to know before we leave.
Well,
the slides.
I know, now there's let's
we've already talked about ethical oversight or being able to involve everyone in the conversation about how AI is being used by your organization. We've talked a little bit about misuse of data.
Can you hear him in the back? No, barely.
Barely? I'm sorry. I was so excited about saying something. When we talk about benefits and challenges, what I think is that while we're making the decisions today about how we handle AI, what we can do with AI, and what will benefit our organization with AI, the next couple of years, our problem's going to get a little bit more worse. And the reason for that is we, as the senior level within our organizations, are going to have to retrain our staff. And I mean, they're to tune of, I think the list was, okay, so 14% of the global workforce, that's over 375 million people, will have to be retrained in the next 2 or 3 years to incorporate AI into their knowledge base. And that's kind of a scary thing, but if you think back to when data processing systems came online, when computers came online, we weren't aware of it, but we did it then. So while it's a scary thing, it's also it's a great way for our organizations to help our employees, our staff members, gain that competitive edge, and that is using and training on how they use it.
I'm going to ask you, actually, this is a test. Class, what does that mean when we have more people who are out there trying to impersonate us, destroy, like go after money from people who would potentially be our members, our donors? What does that mean that we have to do?
What I was going to say is that being in the IT business, my first thought is the security of your data within the organization, and to me it's like a three-legged stool. It is the hardware that you employ to secure your network, the software you use to monitor and secure your network, and then it's the training for your staff. And if any of those three fail, then they've won. So the objective here is to ensure that that stool does not fail.
Come and ask me anything that, any questions that didn't get answered during this. Certainly, I would be interested to know more about the answer to the personal touch, if you will, within the organization. When I think of AI, I don't really think of AI being used to communicate out to members. I envision it being more of a strategic tool to help you connect with your members. At least that's the way I would. Maybe I'm just being naive, but that's what I would suggest. And the other is, yeah, there's some bad and there's some ugly in AI, but there's also some good. And I'll just direct your attention to partners or custodians for the elderly. And AI is starting to play a huge role in the socialization for our elderly. And I think that's an incredibly exciting area, just to keep our elderly from feeling lonely.
Great, thank you very much, KiKi, Matthew, and Paige. Thank you. You'll see I reordered the names there for you.
That's good news.
So I'm now the ugly?
Yes.
Everyone gets a fair shot. So thank you again. I think these were incredibly valuable insights that we heard today, and hopefully many of you will get a chance to take some of this back to your organizations and continue these conversations, which are incredibly important. So again, thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you at the FAR holiday party on December the 5th. And also, I'm just going to tease the January event, which is January the 10th, 2024. We're going to have an economic outlook for the next year. And that will be presented by Roosevelt Bowman III from Bernstein, who's a senior investment strategist. So just if you could mark your calendars, I'm not sure the website is yet ready for that, but hold that date, January the 10th, same time, and it will be at the PNC Bank location, so more details to follow on that. And again, thank you, have a great rest of your day.